Getting serious about bad and noisy neighbours, a new unit and mandatory mediation will be part of a new law to be introduced later this year. At the other end of the spectrum, there are communities that have activities to promote neighbourliness. Our guests in studio are from two that picked up Singapore's Friendly Neighbourhood Award last year, Mr. Daryl Lim from West Terra at Hong Kong North and Miss Emily Young from Toa Payoh East Zone 6. Congratulations, and I wish I was your neighbours. Daryl, start with you. You seem like a really nice guy. Very friendly, but what is it about who you are and what you do that knit your neighbourhood together so well?
I think it's having the sense of ownership and belonging to where you stay. So for me, the mentality is that, your house may end at your front door, but your home extends beyond that, to the block, to the estate, to the community. So with that kind of mindset, I'm always trying to help when possible. And I found that a lot of my neighbours also think the same way.
Right. So what did you do? What was the magic formula? What were some of the things you did?
It's more about enabling people rather than, giving them funding or something, a very structured kind of activity.
And it can be quite simple, right? Like cleaning up rubbish, for example, I'm told that you did, and also sharing food with residents.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these neighbourly activities, especially during the COVID period, where there are some, under home quarantine, so they will require a little bit more help. And then some neighbours, they do a bit of farming, they share their vegetables, others have some baked goods, they picked it up during the circuit breaker, and they share that as well. And these people who help out a lot in the community, they become well-known and respected individuals.
Right.
People that others look up to and look toward when they require some help in their personal issues as well.
Oh, that sounds nice. Emily, I wonder if you agree with what Daryl has said. Is that your experience in Toa Payoh, I believe?
Oh, yes.
Is where you are. What was that magic sauce?
We have a lot. We are doing rescues. Yeah. Same as Daryl, we have food rescue, veggie rescue, bread rescue. So we started from COVID time. It's an ongoing thing that is already 5 years. So every Saturday we have food rescue, veggie rescue, have bread coming from Pasir Panjang, the wholesale center, and we have volunteers from 10 p.m. at night. Yeah, we start out the vegetables to be given up on the second day, the Sunday morning.
It sounds like it's a round-the-clock kind of role. It's a lifestyle almost, right? But what you're telling me is almost like it's the gotong royong, the kampung spirit. Would that be a good way of describing it?
Yes, that's why we call our chiller as a dragon chiller, because it's just the dragon playground is just located next to our
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why. And this dragon chiller is donated by the residents. Yeah, the chiller itself is donated by the resident. Yeah.
All right. So it gives me a sense of why you guys, won the award. But Daryl, back to you. It's not all roses. There are times where, things get difficult. What's the worst case of unneighbourliness that maybe you've heard about or you've experienced that self where you feel mediation might be needed?
Yes, Joe. I think it's unavoidable in this kind of high-rise and dense city living that disputes will arise. I mean, typical ones would be over noise, smoking, and even cooking odors sometimes. So, but I think I don't really want to go into like which ones are the most unneighbourly ones, but I find that personally 90% of them are due to either miscommunication or lack of sufficient communication. So it's when we talk to them and then we learn about, why the things are happening, and then when we bring both parties together, things get worked out. So they just have to talk it out most of the time. Yeah. Right.
So you had to play the peacemaker in a way and just bring the parties together. And you find 90% it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Emily, for yourself, at the end of the day, you can't force people to talk. You can't force people to sort things out if they don't want to, even with the enhanced mediation powers. Why do you think people would rather continue unneighbourly behaviour, whether it's giving or receiving it, rather than just talk to each other, like Daryl was saying?
I think it's all about understanding. Yeah. So I think neighbours, they should communicate more. Yeah. They should know each other, know more about each other. Then when they come together, then you can solve the issue.
Have you also seen, a bad situation perhaps being mitigated because they came together to chat?
Yes, I think we did went to the neighbor. There was once a neighbor who blocked a lot of belongings at their corridors that blocked the neighbor, one of the neighbor who is a wheelchair bound. So we went to this resident and talked to him nicely and tell him about the regulation of the blocking the pathway. So thankfully, this resident immediately removed the item and we solved the issue. Yeah.
So you're saying that to overcome these obstacles, you're offering them the option. Anything else that seems to work really well in diffusing the situation, either of you?
Yeah, I think firstly, I may want to speak to the other party first to understand a little bit more. So sometimes, let's say there was a complaint about light piano playing, which to most people would be quite reasonable. But then you find out that, oh, the other party might be a chronic migraine sufferer, or they always have an important business call to the US at that timing when their kids are practicing the piano. So when we bring this, the other side of the story to the, complaining party or the ones being complained about, and then they work out a reasonable resolution.
And then is there somebody that actually polices the resolution? Or is that left to the neighbours themselves?
I think it's more effective if we leave it to the neighbours mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have their own micro communities, and we hope that it can be a kind of self-sustaining thing, and then they can resolve it within themselves.
Right.
Sometimes we do need to do a little bit of follow-up from time to time, but I mean that's to be expected.
You have a way with the words, Daryl. Emily, to you, some people might just say, "Hey, I'm just a private person. I don't have any problems with the neighbours. I just like to be by myself." That's okay too, isn't it? Or do you feel it is important that people step out of their comfort zone and make connections?
I think better for them to step out and join the committee. Yeah, so that by knowing the committee, knowing the neighbours, so it is easier for them to get information within our community. For example, for our Zone 6, we have an open chat group where we add in the contact numbers of all the residents. So it becomes a very useful chat group that we share information in this chat group. For example, the best road in Toa Payoh, and even the primary contacts, the technician. So whenever they have any problems, they will post in the chat group. Yeah.
No, that's a good way to do it. Yeah. Final question, Daryl, just quickly. Why do you think, it's time consuming? Even making friends to socialize, making time to socialize, it takes time and effort. Why do you think people should make that effort within a community setting? And what are you going to do to reach for the award next year or this year?
I would say everybody would need help at some point or other. And the nearest ones are your neighbours, of course. So that's why it's important to reach out to one another. Even if, like what you mentioned, right, you may not meet them physically, or you're like an introvert, you want to keep to yourself. But we live in the digital age now, so that's a great advantage. We can reach out and communicate with a large group of neighbours instantly, which happened once when one of them asked for some rations. I won't go into details, but they required the food. It was late at night. In about an hour after we put out open request, I had a trolley full of food to send over to him.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's one way. They may never meet each other physically at all, but yet you can still help one another.
Well, I can see why.
On my side also, recently there was a neighbor, we need a pair of crutches. So I posted in the open chat group. Within minutes, I received 3 positive response. Yeah.
Well, with that kind of network, what else can you ask for, right? So I think you guys are doing an amazing and inspiring job, and I hope there are many out there that will follow in your footsteps. Well, I've been speaking there with Daryl as well as Emily, who actually won a very important award to do with the Singapore Friendly Neighbourhoods of 2023. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.